What is going on, everybody? I am out here doing some winter camping with Taco Bella, and Taco Bella has some new hardware on her. I have got the CVT mount hood. As you guys know, I had the CVT mount Baker. Really like that rooftop tent, but the clear coat was peeling off of it. Luckily, it was still under warranty, so I was able to go drive to Tennessee. I got a really good deal on the Mount Hood. So I went to Tennessee, they took back my Mount Baker, they put on the Mount Hood, and I've done a few trips with the Mount Hood. There's a lot of improvements on it, but I'm slightly disappointed with it. But besides my one con, it's an improvement in every single way. So I'm going to do another pros and cons list. Pro number one, build quality. The build quality of this is so much better in every way, an improvement compared to the Mount Baker. And I don't know what that material is called that they were using in their, their first line of roof tents, but I don't know if it was fiberglass or what, but now this is now like a metal material. It's just so strong, so sturdy. I think the tent material is the same as the last one, but I've always really liked this material. I think this is the same kind of mesh net, still like that, but the quality is just rock solid. I mean, this thing is built like an absolute tank, and it seems like they are switching the material to all of their tents over to this material. Makes it a little heavier, but that's definitely not a deal breaker for me. Crossbars. I don't know if you can see them right now because it's a little snowy, but that was one of the biggest disappointments with the Mount Baker. I wanted to have crossbars so freaking bad, and I hated not being able to put my kayaks, a bike, a roof rack, a cargo box on it. I really hated that about the Mount Baker, but that is actually going to be part of the con coming up in a little bit. But I love these crossbars. I haven't put anything on them yet, but before with my Mount Baker, I was putting, my kayak hanging out the back of the of the truck bed, and it just didn't feel good driving with it like that. So I am so happy with that these have a crossbar. That is just like total game changer for me. Locks and improved handles. If you watched my first review, I hated the locking mechanism. It was so bad. It was so cheap, but they absolutely fixed that with this. They've got these super heavy duty clamp locks. They're so awesome. And you can also lock them. You can put like a little lock in there, any sort of lock really, so people won't steal or break in. That's also gonna come back in another con, but really good quality of these. I love these. That was such a bummer when I got the last one, the Mount Baker. I had to buy this kind of strap, which actually worked really good, but it was like a strap that I would have to throw over the whole thing, tighten it, and it came with a lock. It worked. It absolutely worked, but this is really high quality. No one's gonna break into this. And I'm gonna come up here and go into my next pro up here. The handles to close it are super solid. They're super strong. I mean, when it's closed, you can hold on to it. You can, if you need to grab onto it, jump onto the top of the tent. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but these handles right here are so solid. The last ones didn't have a handle to grab up to stand on the back of the truck. Really solid handles. That was a nice touch. Mount Baker didn't have one of those, so super happy that they added these really high quality handles. These gas struts are now on the outside, and this is huge because this makes the inside so much more spacious. I never realized with the Mount Baker how much space these guys took up on the inside. I feel like I had several inches inward because these things were just like so big on the inside. So they're smaller and they're on the outside, which I love. Makes so much more space on the inside. I love it. And while we're talking about space, there's also, this is the same size as my Mount Baker. They told me this was the same dimensions, but I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I think they did something different to create more space on the inside. Like I feel like I can stand up. Like I feel like on the end of the tent right here, I can stand up to like put my pants on. Before I couldn't stand up. So, I feel like overall, I believe there's more space in the mount hood. And while we're here, we're gonna go over to the slots over here. This is another massive game changer. I mean, everyone is using this feature now. If they're not, then they're not making very good tents, because these T-slots here are for accessories, and I love this. I have my awning on the other side. That's attached to T-slots. You can get a shower. You can do water systems. You can do a lot. There's a lot of cool accessories. So I love that I have the ability to be able to, deck out my tent with really cool accessories to make camping a little more fun, a little more adventurous. Cons, don't have a lot of cons, but they are kind of big ones for me. Don't love the mattress that it came with. That was the biggest surprise for me when I got the Mount Baker, was how comfortable the mattress and the sheets they gave it with. They were so comfortable, but I'm not thrilled. It kind of feels like really hard toilet paper. It's not uncomfortable. Like, it's weird because it feels harder than the last one. I still sleep good in it, but it's not as comfortable as the Mount Baker. But of course you could take it out and put your own in. But didn't love the one that it came with. And now my last con, which is why I think this tent was a bit of a disappointment for me. And this is a deal breaker for me. This is important for me, but it's probably not important for you, which is why this tent is probably perfect for everyone else. But my con, I know that rooftop tents are not cargo boxes. They're not supposed to be cargo carriers. But with my Mount Baker, I know there was no crossbars because it wasn't flat on top, but it was kind of rounded on top, and I could fit so much stuff. I could fit so much in the Mount Baker, and I could really force it and squeeze it and close it. And I could fit, bags, sleeping bags, our thickest sleeping bags, all of our pillows. I could fit 3 duffel bags with our clothes. This tent, I'm not kidding. I can barely close it with a ladder and my 3 pillows in there, just for me, just me. I can barely close it. I hate how hard it is to close this tent. I am so frustrated. They have made all these amazing changes. They made these beautiful locks you can lock it with, but like, what's the point of having these nice latches to lock if you can barely fit anything up there? I am so unbelievably frustrated how hard it is to close this tent. It's like there's nothing in it. It closes like a feather. You put a pillow in there and it's like you've got this massive boulder. So really frustrated, and honestly, I think I'm probably gonna try to sell this in this year, next year. For me, I want to do longer trips, and this just isn't for me for a longer trip. Mainly because I already don't have that much space because of my tonneau cover is so low. We already pack so heavy, so I can't put a big cargo box on the top of those rails because I don't know if that's gonna damage the struts. So for me, I think I'm gonna buy a cap. I'm gonna make the back really nice. I'm gonna make it like a little cabin, and I'm gonna buy a massive, like Yakima or Thule cargo box, and I can have a bunch of storage on top. And I also like being stealthy. I like being able to just kind of pull up to a Walmart or whatever, not pay for a hotel, and just sleep, wake up early, and go. And I can't do that with this. I mean, this thing sticks out like a sore thumb. So for me, being able to close it is a deal breaker. I know it's small for everyone else. This is the perfect weekend warrior rig. This tent is so perfect in like every way except for that. So weekend warriors, I think this is the perfect tent. I mean, everyone is basically stealing this design now. I feel like these are the first guys to do this design. So I love this design. Not for me, it's a deal breaker, but I'm gonna be camping in it for sure this summer and winter, and I'm gonna have fun with it, but I'm also looking forward to I still haven't found my perfect rig, so I'm looking forward to see if getting the cap really does it for me. But amazing tent, and I know those are my pros and cons.